Women who suck their husbands' penises are, there's a conversation many shy away from, but let's have it today. Women who embrace the art of pleasing their husbands intimately are not just engaging in an act, they are unlocking a deeper layer of connection, trust, and intimacy in their marriage. This isn't about submission or losing yourself in the process. It's about recognizing the power of vulnerability, the beauty of giving, and the magic that happens when two people let go of inhibitions to completely satisfy and honor each other's needs. Some may call it dirty, others may call it unnecessary. But what if I told you that in the bedroom, this level of intimacy could heal wounds, strengthen bonds, and even reduce the chances of betrayal? When a woman chooses to engage fully, mind, body, and spirit, she creates an emotional safe space where her husband feels cherished, desired, and respected. And this isn't just about him, it's about her too, because in giving, there's also receiving. Pleasure flows both ways when love and desire are mutual. We need to normalize conversations like this, not to shame women who don't, but to empower those who want to explore their sexuality without guilt or fear. Because ultimately, your bedroom is your private sanctuary, and there's nothing shameful about unlocking every door of pleasure and intimacy there. When a woman chooses to engage in intimate acts with her husband, particularly acts like oral pleasure, it goes far beyond a mere physical experience. It becomes a profound expression of trust, vulnerability, and emotional connection. In a marriage, these moments are not just about satisfying a physical urge, but about deepening the bond that keeps two people connected on a soul level. When a wife opens herself up to explore and fulfill her husband's desires, it sends a message that she is fully present in their relationship. It tells him that she not only values his emotional needs, but also his physical ones. This kind of intimacy removes barriers that often build up in relationships over time, barriers of shame, insecurity, or unspoken resentment. It creates a space where both partners can be completely unguarded with each other, and in that space, trust flourishes. Many people underestimate how much emotional closeness is tied to physical intimacy. It's not just about bodies colliding, it's about energy being exchanged and hearts connecting in a way that words alone can never achieve. For a man, having his wife willingly explore this level of intimacy reassures him that she accepts every part of him, that she delights in his body, and that she desires him just as much as he desires her. That reassurance is powerful because men, as much as they try to hide it, often crave validation and affection as deeply as women do. And when a wife provides that through touch, attention, and pleasure, she becomes his safe place in a world that is often harsh and demanding. But this is not a one-sided giving. In choosing to go deeper in intimacy, the woman often discovers a new layer of her own sensuality. She begins to embrace her power to give and receive pleasure, to be confident in her ability to satisfy her man, and to enjoy the act as much as he does. It becomes a shared journey where both partners feel seen, loved, and deeply satisfied, not just physically, but emotionally. When a woman is unafraid to please her husband in such an intimate way, she reinforces the idea that marriage isn't about holding back or keeping score. It's about being fully present for each other. In every way, the bond created in such moments doesn't fade when the act is over. It lingers in the way he looks at her, in the way they communicate, and in the way they navigate challenges together. It builds a foundation of closeness that makes the relationship resilient against external pressures and internal conflicts. Because once two people learn to trust each other enough to share their deepest desires and vulnerabilities, their connection becomes almost unbreakable. Society has created layers of shame and taboo around women's sexuality, especially when it comes to acts like oral pleasure. From a young age, many women are taught that their bodies are sacred, but in a way that disconnects them from their own sensuality. They are told to be modest, to avoid being too sexual, and to view certain acts as dirty or degrading. This cultural conditioning creates a mental block that can follow a woman into her marriage, leaving her feeling conflicted about exploring her desires or fulfilling her husband's in ways that are intimate and vulnerable. But what if we looked at it differently? What if, instead of seeing these acts as shameful, we viewed them as a celebration of love, trust, and mutual pleasure? Breaking free from these taboos doesn't mean abandoning your values. It means reclaiming the power to decide what feels right for you and your partner in the privacy of your relationship. When a woman gives herself permission to explore her sexuality and to fully embrace the intimacy she can share with her husband, she is stepping into her own power. This isn't about being submissive or catering to a man's needs at the expense of her own. It's about realizing that pleasure and connection are mutual and that there is no weakness in giving, especially when it is done out of love and desire. The truth is, most men long for a partner who is confident in her sexuality, someone who doesn't shy away from pleasing him or from receiving pleasure herself. But society's judgmental voices often drown out that natural curiosity in women, making them feel that even within marriage, certain acts are forbidden or inappropriate. To break this cycle, women must first let go of the idea that their sexuality belongs to anyone else's religion, culture, or society. It belongs to them and the man they chose to love. When they recognize that their bodies and their intimacy are tools for deeper connection, they start to see acts like oral pleasure not as something degrading, but as a powerful expression of trust and love. There is a unique confidence that comes from a woman who can stand unapologetically in her sensuality, knowing that she's not doing anything wrong, but is instead enriching her marriage and strengthening the bond with her husband. The act of breaking shame and cultural taboos isn't easy. It requires a shift in mindset and often conversations with oneself and one's partner. But once this shift happens, intimacy transforms from something routine into something sacred and exciting. Both partners begin to experience a new level of closeness where judgment has no place, and freedom takes over. And that freedom becomes the foundation for a relationship that thrives not only in the bedroom, but in every other area of life. When a woman steps into the intimate space of satisfying her partner, she often discovers that pleasure is not a one-way street. It flows back and forth in ways that awaken her own desires and confidence. In giving pleasure, she creates an environment where both partners can fully surrender to the experience, breaking down walls and opening themselves to deeper connection. Many women don't realize how powerful it can feel to have their partner fully immersed in a moment of ecstasy that they helped create. It's not just about his satisfaction, it's about hers too. The act of being bold, taking initiative, and exploring his body often sparks a sense of empowerment and sensuality within her that she might not have tapped into before. For too long, intimacy has been portrayed as something a woman gives while the man receives, but in reality, it's a shared energy exchange. When a wife engages her husband with love and desire, she is not just pleasing him, she's inviting him to meet her on the same level. In these moments, it's common for a man to want to reciprocate, to ensure she feels just as cherished and fulfilled. This mutual giving and receiving creates an exciting dynamic that can transform their physical connection into something vibrant and alive. It also nurtures emotional closeness because when both partners feel desired and appreciated, trust and affection naturally grow stronger. There is something deeply magnetic about a woman who embraces her sexuality and owns her role in creating pleasure for herself and her husband. It eliminates the outdated idea that she is passive in the bedroom. Instead, she becomes an active participant in her own satisfaction and in strengthening the bond they share. This shift in perspective allows her to explore her own needs and communicate them openly, which often leads to more fulfilling experiences for both partners. The courage to be vulnerable and honest about her desires builds a level of intimacy that goes far beyond the physical act itself. Moreover, as she learns to enjoy the experience of giving, she often discovers a deeper emotional fulfillment. Seeing her partner respond, feeling the connection in his touch and his expressions, brings its own kind of joy and satisfaction. It's not about obligation. It's about choice and the pleasure that arises from that choice. When pleasure becomes mutual, both partners leave the moment feeling valued, loved, and more connected than ever. That mutual energy doesn't stay confined to the bedroom. It spills over into daily life, making them more affectionate, patient, and supportive of each other. This dynamic creates a cycle of intimacy where giving and receiving are balanced, and where both partners feel they are contributing to each other's happiness. It's in this space that relationships thrive, not because they are free of challenges, but because the bond between two people becomes too strong to be easily broken. Couples who dare to explore every aspect of intimacy often discover that their connection becomes far stronger and more resilient than they ever imagined. When a woman is open to understanding and satisfying her husband's desires, it sends a clear signal that she is invested not only in his happiness, but also in the health and longevity of their relationship. In marriages where intimacy is prioritized and not treated as a routine obligation, emotional distance rarely has the chance to grow. This kind of effort in the bedroom has a way of spilling over into every other area of life, fostering communication, trust, and affection on a daily basis. It creates an unspoken bond where both partners know they are loved and valued, not just through words, but through actions that speak directly to their hearts. For a man, physical intimacy is often deeply tied to his emotional sense of connection. When he feels desired and satisfied by his wife, it gives him a sense of security that strengthens his commitment to her. He is less likely to feel restless or seek validation outside the marriage because his needs, both emotional and physical, are being met at home. But this isn't a one-sided benefit. For the woman, too, intimacy creates a sense of closeness that goes beyond the physical. She feels more confident in her ability to hold her partner's attention and keep the spark alive in their marriage. This mutual satisfaction reinforces their bond, making them partners not just in life, but in passion. When couples ignore intimacy or treat it as an afterthought, cracks begin to form in the relationship. Small misunderstandings grow into bigger conflicts, and emotional gaps widen because physical connection is a powerful tool for healing and unity. But when they prioritize each other's pleasure and take time to explore each other's bodies, it becomes nearly impossible for resentment to take root. The shared vulnerability of these intimate moments strengthens trust, allowing both partners to feel safe enough to express their deepest emotions and desires without fear of judgment or rejection. Acts like oral pleasure are often misunderstood and stigmatized, but in reality, they can be an essential part of building this closeness. They require a level of openness and comfort that, once achieved, creates a deeper sense of partnership. The woman who is willing to give in this way often discovers that it opens up her husband emotionally, making him more attentive, affectionate, and eager to reciprocate her efforts. This cycle of giving and receiving builds a relationship where both partners feel fulfilled and seen. Strong intimacy acts as a glue in marriage. It holds couples together during difficult times, gives them reasons to smile through challenges, and keeps the fire alive even as the years pass. It's in these private, passionate moments that the foundation of a truly unbreakable bond is laid, one that no external temptation or internal conflict can easily destroy. There is a profound strength in a woman who fully embraces her ability to give pleasure to her husband, not from a place of submission or duty, but from a place of love, confidence, and ownership of her own power. Many women have been taught that acts like oral pleasure are degrading or that they somehow diminish their worth, but the truth is quite the opposite. When a woman chooses to engage in such intimacy willingly, she is not losing power. She is claiming it. She is stepping into a role where her confidence and sensuality become tools for deepening her connection and creating an unforgettable experience for both herself and her husband. Owning your power as a woman in the bedroom is not about performing. It's about authenticity. It's about being so comfortable in your skin that you can explore your partner's desires without shame and allow yourself to enjoy the moment fully. That kind of energy is magnetic. A man can sense when his wife is present, confident, and taking initiative, and it pulls him closer emotionally and physically. It reassures him that she is not just there out of obligation, but because she wants to be, because she desires him as much as he desires her. This confidence transforms how he sees her, not just as a wife or mother, but as a passionate lover and partner who is unafraid to embrace her sexuality. For the woman, this empowerment brings its own rewards. It opens her up to new layers of pleasure and intimacy because she is no longer holding herself back. She can ask for what she wants, experiment without fear, and create a bedroom dynamic where both partners feel free to express their deepest desires. This level of openness leads to experiences that are not just physically satisfying, but emotionally healing and spiritually uplifting. It's in these moments that a woman often discovers how much strength there is in vulnerability, how much power there is in giving without losing herself. Some may criticize or judge, but it's important to remember that no one else lives in your marriage. The intimacy you create with your husband is sacred and belongs to the two of you alone. When a woman understands this and releases the societal conditioning that tries to dictate what is acceptable or not, she becomes unstoppable in her ability to nurture her relationship. She becomes a source of peace, passion, and joy for herself and her partner. This is not about being less or sacrificing who you are. It's about being more confident, more in tune with your body and your partner, and more fearless in expressing your love. A woman who owns her power in this way doesn't just change her marriage. She transforms it into a safe haven where both partners can thrive, explore, and grow together without limits.